Hey everyone, meteorologist Tim Schmidt here. So, we're going to be talking about the winter weather potential as we get into the days after Thanksgiving. Through Thanksgiving Day, through Wednesday and Thursday, it looks like no travel impacts expected. It's just going to be very, very cold. But then Friday night into Saturday, some of the computer model data that we're getting in continues to show that there is a chance for some light snow. I think maybe our first snow of the season for a few neighborhoods, but there is some disagreement in the computer model data that we look at. So I think the snow does come with a caveat for sure. But looking into the weekend hours, so I made this post over on X earlier today, and it kind of highlights from the Tri Cities area of central Nebraska, so from Kearney, Hastings, Grand Island, into southeastern Nebraska, and then northeast Kansas, western to northwest central Missouri seems to be where we have, I think, the best chance for some very light accumulating snow Friday night through Saturday morning. And air temperatures will be plenty cold enough to counteract any warm ground temperatures, let's say, or warm road temperatures. We're going to be at like 15 degrees Friday night through Saturday morning. So this looks to be a powdery snow and it looks to be an accumulating snow. But I think right now the snow impacts look minimal at best with this system. I'm going to touch on that here in a second on why. Right now, snow amounts look to be less than an inch, and it looks to be kind of west and southwest of Lincoln. But there is significant disagreement between the computer models we use to forecast with, based on that for both models amounts and the model placement on some of this snowfall. So I want to go over to some of the raw computer data that we use to forecast with. This is just kind of the inside baseball, if you will, of how we forecast with. So this is going to be the air at 10,000 feet. So this is not just the wind, but also the relative humidity. So think of cloud cover at about 10 to 15,000 feet. This is where the trained forecaster, not just the social meteorologists out there, this is going to be the people that really know what we're looking at. Take a look at this kind of data and try to figure out what's going to happen. So the European model, we use two models to forecast with primarily, and the European model at 10,000 feet is trying to put a lot of the moisture more over parts of the Missouri River, but more so actually over parts of western Iowa. So I think that's really interesting. That one of the maps that I posted there on X. So this is the European models snowfall accumulation map from now really through early Saturday or Sunday. And it puts a little bit of snow accumulation over central Kansas and into central Missouri, but that's actually from the Tuesday night into Wednesday storm system that we're going to have tonight through Wednesday. A little bit of light snow does try to fall south of Nebraska and south of Iowa tonight. But it's actually this little band of snow that tries to form up over parts of western Iowa. That's what the European model is trying to give us. Meanwhile, the American model, the GFS model, is trying to put in quite a bit of snow from central Nebraska into southeastern Nebraska, northeastern Kansas, and then into Missouri, and tries to give us quite a bit of snowfall. But there's obviously big disagreement. You look at that image, and then you look at this image. That's a completely different forecast, and this is the reason why. Okay, so if you want to know why, it looks like the European model is trying to put most of the moisture over western Iowa, but we look for areas of convergence essentially, and we find that based on the wind field, and we just don't really find any converging winds there at 7,000, there at 10,000 feet, but also at 5,000 feet. We look for that kind of same structure to form up too, and we find basically all of our moisture to be over parts of western Iowa, but we just don't even find converging winds. Now, if I switched over to the American model, the GFS model, it's going to show a bit of a different picture. Okay, so over central and east Nebraska, that's where it puts the moisture and the converging wind field at 10,000 feet. It puts it basically over eastern Nebraska and southeast Nebraska. And then if I go down to 5,000 feet, it not only tries to put converging winds, but it tries to put counterclockwise wind flow there at 5 to 10,000 feet, which indicates maybe a bit of a surface cyclone or a low pressure system, if you will, to try to form up over parts of western Nebraska, which would then start to move into northeastern Kansas by early Saturday morning. Both factors would lead to heavier accumulating snowfall. So there is big different, or I should say there are big differences between what the American model is trying to give us and what the European model is trying to give us, both of which are putting the snowfall either too far north or too far south or too far east or too far west, trying to put the moisture that way. And they're just one model is not even giving us a defined cyclone or low pressure system, and one is. So all that is to say, I think right now travel impacts looking minimal at this time, unless we start to see some greater indicators that we could see maybe some higher snowfall amounts Friday night through Saturday over parts of southeastern Nebraska. But something to watch for, especially for those traveling in between St. Joseph, Kansas City on up to Omaha, and then traveling around in southeastern Nebraska. Again, we could see some light snowfall, the powdery stuff, late Friday night into early Saturday morning.